Hey everybody, welcome to That's Steven Rice on YouTube once again, kicking off part 2 of our Beetlejuice painting that I have been working on. We got about 15 minutes to go here, so we'll just dive right into where we are. The sketch was taking me a lot longer than normal. Basically nothing has been turning out the way I wanted it, so I started breaking some of my rules using a lot of the original piece of art and just tracing in lines that I just couldn't see or just couldn't get placed right, just to get everything going as strong as it can. I'm saying a lot of ums this episode here. I don't know too much what to talk about with it, but what I'm doing mostly is just sketching out things and kind of keeping things as unedited as possible. I was trying to go for almost a graphic novel kind of look here. You'll see in the neck I'm doing a lot of straight jagged lines instead of doing the shading and stuff that I normally would do, and it was a attempt to try to do something a little bit outside my norm, which is more towards the realistic side. I wanted to be very bold, a lot of heavy blacks and stuff like that, almost as if I was doing kind of like a portrait. But that was not working. It wasn't working out properly for me. When I say portrait, more like a tattoo style portrait, and it just wasn't working out for me. You'll see in a little bit of time here, I'm just going through trying to redefine lines and everything, and when I finished the last episode, I was very happy with how everything was looking, and I came back to it the next day here, and it's just not looking right to me. Everything just looks half-handed and kind of shoddy, but like I said in my other episode, I don't give up on paintings if I can help it. I constantly dive in and just keep correcting things till I can get it to look right. As of recording this episode, I still don't know whether or not this Beetlejuice piece is going to actually end up looking right. If it doesn't, it'll end up being just a regular piece for the show. It won't be for sale on my Society 6 page or in prints or anything like that. But that's alright. It's all part of the learning and building process. Right now I'm just kind of working in a rough background of what I think I was going to do. I kind of really taken a liking to weird sharp-edged borders and kind of shapes that intersect with the actual subject matter and everything. So I do that on almost every piece now. It's kind of what I've been getting known for, even though I absolutely just took it from the way Struzan does a lot of his paintings and stuff. And I'm blocking in just some color, trying to figure out what's going to work best when it comes down to the color side of things here. And you'll see there's a lot of trial and error, and eventually I end up ditching the entire thing. What we're coming up on is just me trying to get the bold colors in and see if I can get it looking even a little bit like the original reference photo, and I'm not at all. Colors all getting messed up. I thought maybe darkening the sketch would fix it the way it helped a lot with the Cesar Romero painting that I did, and that didn't work either. I'm trying to just do everything I can, and this so far at this point in my mind, I was thinking that this painting is going to be an absolute failure. There's not going to be anything worthwhile to win with this painting. Basically, I was pretty close to just saying I'm done with the painting in general at this point. Because nothing was working right, nothing was looking right. So we're just going to keep kind of pushing through here. You'll notice there are some stops now and then. I don't edit these videos really at all. I just take the raw footage, I dump it into Premiere, and then kind of just speed it up for time purposes. So you'll see some spots where I have to stop and either just I go play with my son a little bit or watch a movie or something. But overall, the length of time is not that bad because of the compression of the speeding up for the time lapse. So you'll notice it a little bit, and I'm just playing around with layers and just different blending modes, trying to get something that feels right. I hopped in and out of the original piece a few times during this, a lot more than I normally would do. Usually I had the reference off to the side, but I didn't do that until a little bit later. I was just trying something new and just editing things around, and this is where I decided to say completely forget it. I take my original sketch, I turned it blue, and what you missed there, it happened very, very quickly, is I completely redrew the faces from ground up. Basically I just took my original sketch, turned everything to the non-photo blue, the layout blue as it were, and I ended up just re-sketching over it with a lighter pencil because everything was just so dark, and I tried not working too many different layers. So that's where we're at right now, is the faces were completely redrawn, and now I'm trying to find inspiration. I'm changing and editing the original piece, the original reference photo, I mean, and just going through and trying to find something that will make me go, hey, that's the kind of look I want to go for with this painting, and it doesn't happen. I want to show a lot of my failures with this, because I failed at a lot of different things I was trying, and eventually you'll see I'll pull up the original reference material that I had in a separate window, just like I did with the Cesar Romero painting, and that's when things start to fall into place. I was working with this one, and the face was just too bright. I was going off the reference I had in this piece, which I upped the contrast for to get more detail in the faces, and not realizing I did a tonal shift color-wise as well. So what you're seeing me paint here, I'm about to completely ditch as well. When it comes to paintings like this, there's a lot of trial and error that I do, because I'm not completely honed in my skills yet. I've only been doing high detailed portraits like this for a couple years now, and with that being said, I'm still learning a lot of steadfast ways of doing stuff. And I'm not saying I have absolute rules, but I do have stuff that I want to kind of stick to when I do my paintings, and if I don't stick to it, then usually chaos happens. And that's why for the first roughly about 7.5 minutes of watching this video, everything was going wrong. And finally I went back to the methods that I know really work, with having the reference right there, so I can just move my eye back and forth only a millimeter or so while I'm painting, and I can see exactly what I want to do. And that's where everything starts working properly. You'll see the painting, the portrait itself finally comes into its own and starts looking right. So right now I'm just working on Winona Ryder's face, trying to get that look down to the utter look of confusion that she had in the film during this wedding scene. It was fantastic, and that's why I chose this pictures for that look. So that's why I'm trying to just get in there, get the blocked colors in and everything. With skin tones, one of the main things I used to always have problems with them was I would use not many colors. I wouldn't layer colors on top of each other, and finally what I ended up doing with this painting and with all my other paintings that got it to look really good is layering a lot of colors, starting off with just different types of flesh tones and low opacities, and just pushing them through that way. It works a lot better and looks ultimately just better in general. So Winona's face is looking pretty good. I'm not doing too much detail yet. That all comes with the colored pencils and stuff that I do, which is coming in probably about another 2 episodes or so. I was trying to keep this one down as much as possible, but because the original sketch took me so long, and having to redo a lot of stuff just based off of me not doing good at it, having a lot of failures and stuff, means that this is going to be stretched out probably 4 videos, possibly 5. I'm not sure if it's going to go any longer than that. I don't think I'm going to be able to get done in 3, because I'm still not done with the airbrushing of the face. I was happy with the way Winona's face started to turn out, so I hop over to Michael Keaton, his Beetlejuice here, and start layering in colors. And as like I said, I do a lot of low opacity kind of stuff, and in this scene Beetlejuice isn't as pale as he was looking in every other scene in the movie. There's a lot more flesh tone that shows up. He doesn't look quite as dead as he did in some other scenes, so I'm sticking with that and putting those flesh tones in, and those really start to pop, and everything really starts to look really good when I throw the blue in here to get that dramatic lighting that I absolutely adore from this scene, as I talked about beforehand. I tend to do a lot of my color mixing kind of on the fly with the color picker, just blending in different shades and stuff from the palette that I have up there. What you'll see is the swatch palette that I have actually is a bunch of different colors from colored pencils and stuff that are used quite often. So They're mostly just Prismacolor colored pencils, so that's what's kind of happening with that there. So I try to stick to those. A lot of times it may not work, or if there's a specific color I really want to get that's not in there, I'll just either make the color or just pick it directly from the reference if it's something that I really want to be very specific. You see, I bounce back and forth sometimes and then blend things out, which is, if you're any type of artist, you know the importance of blending out the colors and not having those too hard of lines when it comes to stuff like this. I hear a little bit of weird music in the background here. My son's playing his Nintendo in the living room while I'm recording this, so you might hear him do a little bit of noise and everything, but I'm going to try not to edit any of that out here either if you hear him at all. So right now, like I said, this part was frustrating for me because up until this point I wasn't sure if the painting was even going to work, but I didn't want to waste my time. I already put in, at this point, I'm at about 6.5 hours in this painting, and I'm not nearly as far along as I normally would be. Usually they take about 10 to 15 hours or so, and at this point it's going way longer than I expected with it, but hopefully I'll have a good piece of art at the end, and you guys take the trip with me here. And hopefully I'm not too boring when it comes down to this. That's one of my main fears and concerns, is that I'm just kind of rambling on for 15-20 minutes at a pop now, and I'll just end up boring you guys, not give you enough information or something like that. But these aren't really my tutorial videos. I'm going to be actually recording a tutorial very shortly just on the methodology that I do in general, something more in real time than in time lapse. So right now what's going on is we're just painting up the entire suit, trying to get the suit color looking right and everything. This was a little bit hard for me because I didn't realize at this point that I was painting on top of a layer that was in multiply mode, and when it's in multiply it's always a lot darker, so I started painting a lot of the suit and things weren't looking right, that the colors were darker than I was expecting, and then I finally realized, oh, there we go, that's the reason, is I just wasn't paying attention to which layer I was painting on. And at this point, the layer that I am painting on is the actual original drawing. So if I messed it up, I would have to start all over again. So I'm glad that this started to turn out right. The jacket I ended up really proud of by the end product here so far. And here's where I'm just lightening up the spots that did end up too dark. And you may see that I jumped over to the other arm here, and a lot more is done than was done previously in the last couple seconds. And what ended up happening was I thought I was recording. I started doing the painting and fixing up his arm there and getting everything to look right, and I wasn't recording at all. And I'm not going to waste the 45 minutes to an hour that I spent on that arm and try to just erase it and repaint over it or anything like that. So unfortunately we missed that part, and this is all new to me. Sometimes my ScreenFlow program crashes on me before I get a chance to actually realize it. Sometimes I do realize it pretty quick and everything's fine, but this instance didn't happen that way. So just a couple little details here and there. I wanted to get the tie done, work on the actual color of the shirt and the frills and everything. And it's bringing us up close to almost the end. There's about another minute left here, so I just want to go ahead once again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all my new subscribers and everything. We're slowly building a little bit of an audience here, and all my paintings and tutorials and stuff are going to be going up. What I'm going to be doing, like I said, I really want to get up to about 50 subscribers. So far we're at about 32, so that's a lot better than I anticipated. And if we hit 50 subscribers, I'm going to do something special and kind of go from there. But definitely, once again, thank you so much for watching That Steven Rice on YouTube, watching my paintings coming up on Beetlejuice's end. And I definitely want you to go ahead, if you like this video, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, share it on every social media that you have, so that way we can go ahead, build the audience, and I can continue to bring you great free tutorials and paintings like this. And if you haven't already, check out my Society 6 webpage at society6.com/Steve Rice, where you can buy prints of almost every one of my works. Thank you so much once again. This is That Stephen Rice, and you have a great one.